Alright, listen up. What I'm about to tell you will either turn you into the most dangerous person in every room you walk into, or you can click away and go back to being a psychological prey for people who basically learned their manipulation skills from TikTok tutorials in their spare time. You want to know what separates actual apex predators like a lion from simple house cats? It's not their claws, it's not their speed either. It's that a lion has no need to roar to make gazelles nervous. Them gazelles can smell the danger from 3 miles out. Meanwhile, you've got full-grown adults posting 17 Instagram stories explaining why they're taking a break from social media before deleting the app for exactly 48 hours. Here's the thing that's going to really sting. Every single time you feel the urge to prove how smart you are, you're basically announcing to the world that you are not. So you might as well wear a neon sign that says, "Please validate my pathetic existence." Friedrich Nietzsche had this absolutely mind-bending concept called eternal recurrence. He wants us to picture living the exact same life over and over again, forever. Imagine for a moment what that would look like. But here's the brutal truth though. Most people are already doing this. They're trapped in this endless loop of saying foolish things, begging for approval, getting mentally destroyed by any and everyone with half an ounce of brain cell. What if I told you that every conversation, every meeting, every awkward social interaction is just the same old power game being played over and over again? Same old players, same predictable moves, same outcomes. No real change. But the real question is, are you a chess master or simply a pawn who doesn't even realize it's on the chessboard? Friedrich Nietzsche has another thought that most people are slaves to their own weakness. This brings us to something that's going to completely rewire how you see every human interaction for the rest of your life. But before we do that, subscribe if you're ready to become your own master, or just don't and prove Nietzsche's point. In fact, Nietzsche basically split humanity into two camps, slaves and masters. But which are you? I'm not talking about the whips and chains cruelty kind, but the psychological kind. We are talking about mental slavery. It is when you need everyone else's permission just to exist. You even apologize for taking up space. Oh, so sorry about that. You repeat time after time. You'd laugh at every stupid joke that is not even really a funny joke at all, but you do anyway. You nod along to opinions that make your soul want to file for bankruptcy, but you do anyway. Mental slavery. Bob Marley talked about this. Master morality? That's the exact opposite. That's when you create your own rules. You don't ask for approval because, well, approval is for people who forgot their apex predators walking around in business casual. Picture this corporate meeting scenario for a moment. It'll probably even make your blood boil with recognition just to hear it. Imagine this for a moment. Everyone's crammed in the conference room, and a Karen from accounting starts her weekly one-woman show of "Look how important I am." She's talking nonstop, throwing around buzzwords like synergy and ideation like they're magic spells or something. Meanwhile, John from IT just sits there, says nothing. And when the meeting wraps up, the CEO pulls him aside for a private chat. Why would he do that? Because while Karen was basically verbal vomiting all over the room, John was reading everyone's body language, taking intricate mental notes, pre-positioning himself as this calm, steady center while chaos just orbited around him. Speaking of creating your own gravitational pull, let's talk about becoming something that transcends ordinary human desperation. Nietzsche's Ubermensch. The Ubermensch isn't some weird fantasy. It's Nietzsche's vision of humans who've transcended herd mentality. These are people who've literally eliminated their need for external validation and operate from pure internal power. A core idea from the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche is that man is something that shall be overcome, and that something is you, but only if you're willing to eliminate your weaker self. Want to become an Ubermensch? Stop being a reaction to other people's energy. Start being the energy others react to all the time. This means weaponizing your silence like a psychological scalpel that cuts through social pretense. Before you respond to anything, and I mean literally anything, count to 3. Not one Mississippi, not 2 Mississippi. A full 3 count that feels like you're downloading information from the universe, while everyone else is buffering like they're stuck on 2005 dial-up. This pause does something psychologically devastating. It makes people think you know something they don't. And here's the kicker, you do. You know they're desperate for your validation, and you're just deciding whether they deserve it or not. But silence without presence is just straight up awkwardness wearing a philosophy costume. So let me show you how to turn your body into a secret weapon of mass psychologicalness. Next time you're in a meeting where everyone else is trying to outsmart each other, try this instead. Lean back slightly, fold your hands, and just chill. Look at each speaker like you're some documentary filmmaker studying an endangered species. Don't nod approvingly. Don't make those agreeable little noises people make. Just straight up observe. Watch how uncomfortable people get when they can't read your approval meter. They'll start explaining themselves, over-justifying their points, basically doing mental gymnastics to get some kind of reaction from you. But don't give them an inch. This technique becomes especially effective when you apply it to the modern dating wasteland. You know, that place where emotional intelligence goes to die. Yes, that place. Let's talk about this this modern dating landscape for a bit, where people are addicted to even a teeny tiny bit of a breadcrumb's attention, like digital addicts. Someone ghosts you for 3 days, then slides into your DMs with, "Hey there, stranger," like they're auditioning for the starring role in your life's drama. Here's your Ubermensch response to that. Read it. Don't respond. Go lift weights. Learn a new skill. Build your empire. Let them marinate in that silence treatment while you become more interested by the hour. You are not playing games here. You are not being mean. This is just you refusing to participate in someone else's emotional chaos. You're not ignoring them to manipulate them. You're prioritizing your own growth over their inconsistency. That's master morality in action right there. Same principle applies when someone tries baiting you into online arguments, those digital wastelands where IQ points vanish into thin air. Instead of typing paragraph after paragraph defending your position, try this instead. Post your point once, then disappear. Let them argue with the void while you're out here building something meaningful in the real world. Now let me show you how to turn Nietzsche's most brutal concept into your personal life optimization system. Here's how to use eternal recurrence as a decision-making weapon. Before you speak, ask yourself, if I had to repeat this exact conversation for eternity, would I still say this? Crazy question, right? But it makes sense, don't you think? Because most of the time, the answer is absolutely not. Why? Well, that's because most of what we say is mental garbage, filler words, approval statements, emotional reactions that make us look like we're controlled by our feelings instead of the other way around. Picture this. What if someone told you everything you do today, you'll have to do exactly the same way tomorrow, and the next day, and forever? Would you still say those words? Yep, perhaps not. This filter eliminates like 90% of the verbal diarrhea most people mistake for conversation. You start speaking only when your words carry the weight of eternity. And that weight, everyone in the room feels it. They will feel the weight of those words, every single one you utter, as they hang on your every word. But words are just surface level. Your entire physical presence needs to communicate as well. That you've transcended the herd's need for constant validation. They are the ones needing yours instead. Your body language should tell the story, and that story should be, I know something you don't, and I'm deciding whether you're worth sharing it with. Walk slower than everyone else, not like you're underwater, but like you're not in a hurry because you've already calculated 17 moves ahead. Take up space without apologizing because you don't give a hoo-ha. Just make eye contact like you're reading their browser history, diving deep into their deepest fears at the same time. And here's the most effective move of all. Master the strategic exit. Leave conversations while they're still interesting. Leave parties before they peak. Leave people wanting more instead of giving them more than they can handle. When you exit a room, you should leave behind the same energy as a predator that just marked its territory. Not aggressive, not rude, just absolutely certain of its place in the food chain. Think of yourself as a philosophical time bomb that doesn't explode. It just exists, ticking quietly while everyone else wonders when and if you'll go off. That uncertainty keeps them orbiting around your energy, trying to decode what makes you tick. Nietzsche said, "What does not kill me makes me stronger." But I'm telling you something better. What doesn't get a reaction from you makes you more powerful. Look, you came here thinking you'd learn some social tricks. Instead, you got a philosophy class that'll separate you from 99% of the population who are still playing checkers while you're playing 4D chess with their psychology. Most people will never understand this level of mental discipline. They'll keep talking too much, seeking too much approval, wondering why they feel powerless in their own lives. And they won't know why. But you're about to become the person others can't figure out. The one who makes people uncomfortable in the best possible way. The living reminder that real power doesn't announce itself, it just exists. So here's your assignment for today. For the next 48 hours, speak 50% less than you normally would, and watch what happens. Watch how people start leaning in when you do speak. Watch how your silence creates more intrigue than your words ever did. And remember, in a world full of people desperate to be heard, the person who doesn't need to speak becomes the most interesting voice in the room. Now go practice being magnificently, powerfully, dangerously quiet, because it's so powerful, you won't really know how much until you do. But before you do that, just hit that like button and subscribe. And remember, the louder the world gets, the more power there is in your silence.